Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we are completely dismantling the idea of fixed intelligence. Have you ever wondered why some people just seem to process reality on a totally different wavelength? Or maybe you felt this frustrating ceiling on your own mental growth, like a hidden barrier you just can't push past. Well, we're going to figure out exactly why that happens, mapping out the 7 fascinating layers of human cognitive evolution. So, grab your focus and let's map out the mind together.
Section 1. Rethinking Intelligence, a New Perspective.
So, is your intelligence just a fixed number? Honestly, most of us grew up believing exactly that, right? We're taught that IQ is this permanent score, basically a number stamped on your forehead for life that dictates your absolute potential. But cognitive psychology reveals a much deeper, far more dynamic reality. It turns out your intelligence isn't some locked vault. It's actually a layered structure that can evolve and adapt over time.
Think about the old model for a second. A static IQ. That's a fixed score deciding how smart you are forever. Almost like you just drew a number in a genetic lottery. But contrast that with a modern understanding, which is cognitive evolution. Intelligence actually develops in specific layers. And it's dictated not just by what you know, but fundamentally by how you think and process the reality around you. Each level you move up represents a massive transformative shift in how your brain operates.
Section 2. The Automatic Brain, Levels 1 and 2.
Let's build this from the absolute ground up, starting with the states where your brain operates on rapid autopilot. In Level 1, reactive thinking, you are merely reacting to raw emotion and immediate impulses. Psychology links this to low cognitive control. Your brain is just prioritizing speed and basic survival over accuracy. You aren't reflecting, you're just responding. Then, by Level 2, basic awareness, you start to spot simple patterns and surface-level cause and effect. You know what's happening, but you can't really explain why it's happening. Both of these are incredibly fast states that require almost zero mental energy. And frankly, that is exactly how our brains prefer it.
Section 3. The Level 3 ceiling, where most stop.
Now we hit the absolute climax of cognitive development for the vast majority of the population. Level 3 is logical thinking. This is where traditional education operates, and honestly, where most of the population settles for life. At this level, you use logic to solve problems, you follow sequential arguments, and you make structured decisions based on rules. Now, don't get me wrong, mastering this layer allows for a perfectly functional, successful life. But as a tool for navigating deep, complex reality, it is fundamentally incomplete. Logic alone just isn't enough to untangle the highest complexities and contradictions of the modern world.
So the really crucial question becomes, why do most people get permanently stuck exactly at this number? Why Level 3? What is fundamentally holding us back from those upper tiers of true intelligence?
Well, the answer is actually your own biological hardwiring. Your brain is what psychologists call a cognitive miser. This means it has a natural evolutionary tendency to avoid cognitive effort whenever possible, just to save energy. It inherently prioritizes fast, automatic thinking. It's kind of like a smartphone aggressively trying to stay in low-power mode to conserve battery so it can make it through the day. Moving beyond Level 3 requires serious, sustained cognitive effort, which is literally physically and mentally taxing on your system.
And that leads us to a pretty powerful realization. The discomfort of questioning your own logic feels like an unnecessary risk. Because your battery-saving brain loves being fast and automatic, the sheer discomfort of challenging your foundational thoughts feels like a biological threat. Most people stay comfortably anchored at Level 3 because staying there is easy, it's predictable, and it's incredibly energy efficient.
Section 4. Breaking the Barrier, Levels 4 and 5.
But what if you want more? Welcome to Level 4, Critical Thinking. This is where the brain stubbornly stops accepting information at face value. You begin to analyze sources, you challenge underlying assumptions, and you actively look for flaws in reasoning, even your own reasoning. This is a massive psychological shift. Your thinking suddenly becomes fiercely independent, totally untethered from the comfort of simply agreeing with the consensus. You can see a super clear contrast here between standard and advanced thinking. Standard Level 3 follows arguments and repeats ideas that have been handed down, but advanced Level 4 actively evaluates those arguments and fiercely challenges assumptions. A Level 3 thinker accepts a well-structured argument because it looks right, while a Level 4 thinker actively hunts for the hidden flaws and the unsaid assumptions within it. At this stage, you're no longer just repeating ideas, you are dismantling them to see exactly how they work from the inside out. And if you manage to master that, you hit the next breakthrough, which is level 5, metacognitive thinking. This is a true hallmark of high intelligence. Here, the brain turns inward. You don't just think about the outside world anymore, you literally observe your own thinking process. You actively catch your own biases as they happen, you monitor your errors, and you intentionally adjust your mental strategies on the fly. Because you finally understand how your own mind works, your brain can actively begin to improve itself in real time. It's like having a built-in upgrade button.
Section 5. Pinnacle Intelligence, Levels 6 and 7.
For those who dare to master their own mind, we arrive at the final frontier. Level 6 is abstract and systems thinking. At this stage, your brain abandons linear, straightforward thought to find profound connections between entirely unrelated ideas. You begin to think in complex patterns, models, and comprehensive frameworks. This is the exact layer where true creativity and game-changing innovation grow, because you are no longer limited to direct, surface-level information. You are seeing the entire ecosystem. Consider the contrast between surface-level focus and systems thinking. A surface-level focus only sees isolated, direct events, things happening one by one. But systems thinking visualizes the interconnected frameworks and models driving those events. Instead of just seeing an everyday event happen in complete isolation, your mind now visualizes the entire hidden, interconnected machinery operating behind the scenes that caused it. You are, quite literally, seeing the matrix. Finally, we reach level 7, strategic and adaptive thinking. This is absolutely the rarest and highest tier of intelligence we're mapping out today. Thinking becomes totally flexible, deeply long-term, and highly controlled. You can shift perspectives at will and adapt your mental model based on whatever the situation demands, no matter how volatile. At this stage, intelligence is no longer just about being smart or having a high IQ. It's about using your thinking incredibly effectively to master real life and shape your environment.
Looking at how this builds across the entire spectrum, the divide is striking. On one end, you have the autopilot brain, which covers levels 1 through 3. It's fast, it's automatic, it saves energy, and it purely reacts to reality as it comes. But on the other end, we have the mastermind, levels 4 through 7. This state is effortful, highly controlled, adaptable, and uniquely capable of processing deep reality. You are either letting your brain default to automatic, energy-saving reactions, or you are forcing it to wake up and process the profound complexities of the world around you.
Section 6. The Mirror. Self-reflection. Now that we've mapped out this entire cognitive ascent in our explainer, it is time to hold up a mirror. There are 3 absolutely crucial takeaways to remember here. First, your brain will constantly, naturally try to pull you back to those comfortable, low-energy levels of thinking. It's just biology, right? Second, true growth requires intentionally pushing through that very discomfort over and over again. And third, to operate at a higher level, you must train yourself to see the world in layers that others completely ignore. You literally have to fight the cognitive miser within you every single day.
So I want to leave you with this final provocative challenge. At what level are you thinking right now? If you are truly, brutally honest with yourself, which level do you default to most of the time? Are you just reacting? Are you relying only on logic? Or are you actively breaking down the hidden systems of reality? Think about it. Thanks for exploring this with me today, and keep pushing those cognitive boundaries.